Today I'm going to be covering the top 5 dishes, that being food, sweets, drinks, that I tasted at the 2024 EPCOT Festival of the Holidays. And that is one of my favorite festivals. It's one of the shortest, sadly. And if you are an annual pass holder that has some blackout dates, unfortunately, this is going to be hindered, and it's going to be factoring into the time that you can actually enjoy this festival at EPCOT, because it is so short and the blackout dates really extend from the second half of December up through the new year. So join us as we cover the top 5 items that I tried at the EPCOT Festival of the Holidays 2024. Grab your passports and let's hit those booths. I do want to start off by mentioning that this is the top 5 list that I actually tried. I did not try every single food item at this year's Festival of the Holidays. So this is strictly a top 5 that I tried on this particular day. I'll have some honorable mentions here to start with, and that being the peanut butter cookie over in the Land Pavilion at Sunshine Seasons. It was a really, really good take on a peanut butter cookie. Once you've had a peanut butter cookie and you've had a good one, they all kind of taste the same. I really wish this would have had a little bit more of that icing on top like it is in the pictures and on the menu, but it's a really well done cookie. If it had more icing, it might be further up my list. So head over to the Sunshine Seasons in the Land Pavilion to try this peanut butter cookie. Another on the honorable mention list is the Japanese punch over at Shiwasu. And as I read off the menu here at Shiwasu, that is the Japanese punch over at the Japan Pavilion. And the Japanese punch includes shoshu, plum wine, cranberry, and lemon juice. It's kind of a refreshing punch and really is a sneaky, sneaky drink because you don't feel like you are indulging in alcohol because it is a very fruity drink, and it kind of reminds me of a fruit punch that a kid's beverage would include. So a really good beverage offering here at Shiwasu. And lastly, on the honorable mentions, we're going to stay right here at Shiwasu in Japan. Just didn't make the list for me, but it was the interesting mochi donut wrap, and it really was a donut with this rice paper wrap on top. The description reads, a soft, chewy fusion pastry served with strawberry, whipped cream, strawberry sauce, and sweet red beans wrapped in gyuhi rice cake sheet. And I apologize for that pronunciation, but this mochi donut wrap was this close to making my top 5. If it had a little bit more of that strawberry and whipped cream, which was really good, it probably would have cracked the top 5. It was just an interesting texture on that mochi donut. And then that wrap, at first, it kind of reminded me, and I mentioned this to my wife, was that it reminded me of Big League Chew with that like dusting of sugar on the outside. It was very dusty, if you want to call it that, but it was an interesting texture that got better the longer it sat in your mouth. So the longer that you had it in your mouth, the better it tasted. And it was an interesting texture with this mochi donut wrap that definitely got better. I think if it had more of that filling inside of it, it would have been higher on that list, like I said. But go over to Shiwasu. They have some really good dining options over there. The sushi tree roll is a classic sushi dish, which I did not include in my top 5. But head on over there. And those are my honorable mentions for the 2024 Festival of the Holidays. Now let's get on to the top 5. Coming in hot, just like this monorail shot, is the Yukon Holiday Kitchen over in Canada. And number 5 to start off my top 5 at the 2024 Festival of the Holidays is the beef bourguignon. And I apologize, that is one word I struggle to pronounce each and every year. Beef bourguignon with crushed potatoes. This was an incredible dish. It was warm on a cool day. That definitely helps. The weather plays a factor into my top 5. So on a colder day, a warmer dish is much, much more welcome as opposed to those frozen items or possibly the items over at the World Showcase. But beef bourguignon, over at Yukon Holiday Kitchen was a delight. Had a very tangy sauce to it. I don't know if it's kind of like a wine, reminiscent of a dark wine. Had some mushrooms, onions, a heaping of mashed potatoes on the bottom, as well as that beef. And for your money, this is going to be one of the better values. There was a lot of food included here on this plate. And the beef was tender. It was warm. There was plenty of potatoes underneath. And it was just a very warm and comforting dish when a festival like the Festival of the Holidays features mostly sweets items. So to have those savory dishes thrown throughout, this really is a game changer and sets the tone for the rest of your day and really breaks up those sweets dishes. So coming in at number 5 is the Yukon Holidays Beef Bourguignon. And at number 4 on our top 5 countdown at the Festival of the Holidays is and we're going to stay right here at the Yukon Holiday Kitchen, and that is the Collective Arts Coffee Maple Porter from Hamilton, Ontario. Collective Arts has been featured at this booth for many different festivals, and this is one of their biggest hits, in my opinion. If you don't like the porter style or the darker style beers, don't be afraid by this one, because the coffee and the maple together, you can taste each individually, and it really cuts through that heaviness of that beer and makes it quite refreshing. Like I said earlier, the temperature was lower, and this felt more appropriate for this festival and this particular day, being in the 60s in EPCOT, but it's not overly heavy, and I do appreciate that from this Collective Arts Coffee Maple Porter, which comes in at number 4 on my top 5. Coming in at number 3 on the top 5 is over at Mele Kalikimaka Holiday Kitchen, and that is number 3, the Brewery 5 Golden Rings from Placentia, California. This beer really hit the spot. And amongst other beers that are so heavy in flavor, the porters, the stouts, this is a lighter offering, and it is really crisp, really refreshing, and it's this mead-style ale, if you want to call it that. The brewery is a very distinguished brewery coming from California. Go out there and try this. It's going to be really good. And like I said, it's one of the more refreshing beers that stands out from stouts and porters, and it is on the lighter side. So try the Brewery 5 Golden Rings at number 3. And we're going to stay right here for number 2, and that is this delicious cookie. It's the only one that made my list on today, and that is the Coffee Mocha Cookie, staying at Mele Kalikimaka Holiday Kitchen. That is the walkway between World Showcase and the Imagination Pavilion. It was a delightful cookie. I really loved the frosting in that it tasted fresh, and that it had been prepared, within the last, 15 to 20 minutes or so. And it just had a very nice, not overly sweet consistency to it, or taste to it, I should say. The coffee was a really nice choice to cut through the sweetness. And if you're looking for a less sweet cookie to try out, that's not going to overpower you, get this Coffee Mocha Cookie. It was the star of the show on this particular day. Granted, I did not get the Linzer cookie. That line was extremely long, but a surprise standout and a new addition to this menu in 2024 is that Coffee Mocha Cookie, which is topped with coffee-infused buttercream, cocoa nibs, and chocolate-covered espresso beans. Now on to the top of our top 5. Topping the list of our top 5 at number 1 is over at Las Posadas Holiday Kitchen in Mexico. And that being number 1, the Empanada de Pollo. That is fried corn tortilla filled with chipotle chicken and potatoes, topped with chili, rojo salsa, crema mexicana, and queso fresco. And this was just a delight. Like I said, the savory dishes, if you can come across some of these delicious savory dishes to break up that overly sweet menu of Festival of the Holidays, which I love, it's going to be a winner in my book. And these are crucial to enjoying the entire festival. You need these savory dishes like this Empanada de Pollo. And the chicken, the potatoes inside were very creamy. The salsa, the rojo salsa, honestly, in my opinion, was the star of this dish. And the fact that it was freshly fried. I believe it was fried over at the the quick serve location and then transported over to this booth. But every time Mexico hits, every time it is one of the tops on my list at each festival. They do it right over in Mexico. And at number 1 today, the Empanada de Pollo is no different and gets all the accolades on this particular day. Now it's your turn. Let me hear from you. Have you visited EPCOT International Festival of the Holidays 2024? If not, it runs from November 29th through December 30th, 2024. I want to hear from you. Drop a line in the comments. What is your top 5 from this year's festival? And tell me why I'm wrong. Until next time, I'll see you then.